Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's happening here in the greater Concord area. I'm your host, Dick Patten. It's a pleasure to welcome you back as we say so long to January and comes in February with Valentine's and Washington's birthday, or President's Day as they now call it. But we're still waiting for a big snowstorm. Where is our snow? You know, not that I really want it, but some of the East Coast got it, but we haven't got ours yet, so it's crazy. But anyway, I'm pleased to have Paul Brogan as my guest today as we continue talking about Concord, then and now, or whatever. But this is the first time we've had you on this new year, Paul. So
exactly. So happy New Year to you.
2016, and getting ready for. Actually, it's funny because we just got done Christmas and Valentine's is on the shelves. Mm-hmm. Now I see Easter Cadbury eggs out there,
yes,
along with Valentine candy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course Lent starts in a couple of weeks, Ash Wednesday. So
it's just
Easter's early.
Racing,
anyway.
And next week is Groundhog Day. By the time this airs, we may have already had Groundhog Day. We'll know whether or not
with the groundhog saw his shadow,
or not.
I just can't believe. Of course, they said last year was the same way. Mm-hmm. We didn't have massive snow until after that hockey tournament.
Yes.
Almost into February.
Ice.
So we're due. Way overdue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is not New England as I remember it when I was a kid.
No, we had snow from right before Thanksgiving until,
April.
well into March. Yeah, April. I can remember hunting for Easter eggs in the snow on some occasions, certainly. Yeah. And when Easter didn't, fall real late, you would have snow, on the ground at Easter time. And then mud season wouldn't be until the end of April. Yeah. So it's the whole weather system is certainly askew.
Crazy. And I can remember as a kid, my grandmother, whom we lived with, always asked my father and I if we would shovel out the clotheslines on Washington's birthday. Now, that was when we would do it on the actual day or the 4th.
The 22nd.
Yeah, the 4th Monday of February or whatever. And so Dad and I would go out there, and we had these double clotheslines, basically, and we'd shovel the snow because there was so much snow out there. Mm-hmm. And they were kind of anxious to start hanging clothes out on a good sunny day.
And they would dry, and they smelled so good
and
when they
weren't
dried
many
out
days,
there.
but there'd be once in a while, it'd be a good, and then of course I got to start to melt that snow, but not anymore. And so it's really crazy, but I can't believe we're going to go without. We've only had about 6 inches of snow.
I think so, something like that.
One was 4 inches, and the other was about 2 or 3 or something, and that's been it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, that last week before, last week they were blatting about how we're going to get that massive snowstorm. Nor'easter was coming.
Yes.
And then by Wednesday they started to back down, so you knew darn well that they had. Mm-hmm. We should have a job like that. We can make mistakes and never get fired or whatever else, but. Anyway, it just doesn't seem possible that the holidays have come and gone, and
again
the stores are doing inventory or whatever, and they're quiet, waiting for the Easter rush to come in and save them, and then they'll be dead again through the summer.
But even that's not what it was. When we were kids, you always got a new outfit for Easter, and you went out. And now people don't dress up for Easter or anything like that. But
I can remember my mother would buy my sister a little hat, and a dress. Of course, I had a suit to wear. And one year it was popular. My cousin had white loafers for boys. Well, the next year I wanted white loafers, so I got a pair of white loafers too. Of course, we didn't dare wear them after that.
Yeah,
but that was the big thing for boys was white loafers. And you're right. They don't dress to go to church much. And Easter Sunday was always dress up day. Boy, you would never think of going to church on Easter Sunday in jeans or any of that stuff.
Never.
You dressed.
It was a totally
no matter
different.
if it was a Catholic church or Baptist church or whatever church. I mean, you dressed for the service. Mm-hmm. Well, and Grand State would have the Easter bunny in the window there and all that. But,
well, my mother would never have thought of going out to the grocery store without getting dressed nicely. Putting on a skirt and a nice blouse and putting on makeup and just to go to the grocery store.
Oh, I know.
There was just a certain standard that was expected.
Yep.
And nobody ever really talked about it. It was just a very natural thing. I mean, I would have never have thought in high school when I was working at the Concord Theater of going in jeans in the evening to work. You know, I would put on corduroys or a nice pair of slacks, and you just didn't go to your job even unless you were dressed a certain way.
But no, in winter just seemed like it would drag. Oh boy, I mean January still drags.
Yes.
And March can be a draggy month too.
Dark and foreboding, and just
unless you got early spring or something, which was rare.
Yes.
But February this year is leap year, so it's 29 days in February. So that's a little bit different.
It is
4 years. Of course, the primary.
Yes.
How many phone calls have you had? Who are you voting for? Are you going to vote on February 9th? Can we put you down for this? Oh.
Today, just this morning, I had 6 of them. 6 different ones. 4 were Republican, 2 were Democrat, and they all just wanted to ask a few questions. And people coming to the door, too. Years ago, the only people that came to the door was the Avon lady and the Fuller Brush man.
You're right. Yes.
And that was about it.
Yeah.
But no, I guess I love the idea that a lot of young people are coming to the door because it shows perhaps they have an interest in what's going on. Because predominantly it's been people under 30 that have been coming to the door to ask questions or find out if I need a ride to the polls or something else.
But the trouble is, though, unfortunately, when you see them come to the door, you have to ask, are you part of the Kingdom Hall, or are you part of the
true.
church?
Yeah.
You know, the elders, so. But, you know, it's just every phone call, and I am so sick of the debates on TV.
Yes.
Man, I've never seen such mudslinging.
No, it's. I don't ever remember either the national or the New Hampshire primary where it was like it has been this time. And it started way too early.
It did.
I mean, it started
very early.
A year or more ago.
That's right.
Whereas it seems to me years ago that suddenly you heard a little bit about it before Christmas.
Yeah.
And then people started coming to the state in January leading up to it. Of course, the primary was later then because right. So it wasn't until after the holidays, and that sort of was something that was exciting for a 2-month period. But for a 2-year period, it's just wearying and exhausting.
And they didn't give Christmas a break this year.
No.
They campaigned right up through. I'm surprised Christmas Eve they didn't go around with Santa, for heaven's sakes, dropping off campaign literature. But it's almost sickening.
It is. Which is, I think, one of the reasons people are just, I don't care anymore. I just want it over with. Which is what has sort of happened with Christmas when they start it in September.
Yep.
By November, as soon as the parade and the tree lighting is over, as far as I'm concerned, okay, that's it. Christmas is over the first week of December because I've heard about it for 3 months leading up to that. Yeah. And it's, we've talked on the show so many times about how when it was like a 4-week period, it was genuinely magic.
Oh, yeah.
And now there's only so much. And of course, now we have it coming at us in so many ways that we didn't with social media and all of that we didn't have back when we had, 4 channels on television.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's channel 4, 5. 7
and 9,
maybe
and then,
8.
Yes, and you could get channel 11.
Channel 11, yep.
But that was about it. And we could get channel 6 out of Portland sometimes if you move the rabbit ears a certain way.
Yep.
And it was always with a lot of snow, but it was
13 was another one out of Maine.
Yes,
too.
out of Maine too. You could sometimes
get.
Was it. Yeah, it was.
Channel 2 though is Boston. You can get that. Maybe you could have, but 3 you couldn't get.
No.
And Channel 10 was out of Rhode Island. 6 was a Channel 6 out of Rhode Island too. But,
and it was only like in the 70s when 38 and 56 came in, and suddenly you could, Continental Cablevision, I think, was that brought that in.
Yeah, it could be. I can't remember. And we didn't have a TV like that.
It was $3.99 a month because I gave it to my parents as a Christmas gift for a year. giving them cable so they could watch 38 and 56.
Look what a big deal home HBO was. Mm-hmm. You had to subscribe to get it. Mm-hmm. And you don't watch that channel. That's got dirty movies on there and all that stuff. Oh my goodness.
That had a real reputation.
Yeah, it did. But I don't know. In Main Street now, of course, construction's done for a little bit.
Yes. They're supposed to start the next phase of the destruction in March.
Yeah, I think so.
Is it? Yeah.
Well, depending on the weather.
Oh, okay.
I would imagine definitely early April, but probably end of March.
That is going to be interesting because of the fact that that's going to impact the Capitol Center, Gibson's. I mean, some of the real draws are on South Main Street that people specifically come to. Yeah. And it's in the Chamber of Commerce and that whole area. So it's going to be interesting to see how that is handled because it's and like we have talked, there's some very pretty things about it, but I hear from people that they've cut back on going downtown because it's hard to find parking. And somebody says, well, there's garages and things. Well, that's not always an option for everybody who may have impairments with walking.
That's right.
And my mother, who's 92, drives all over the place in her little Fiat. But she goes downtown. If she can't find a handicapped space, she's not going to park in a garage and walk 4 or 5 blocks to get something.
That's right.
So she goes elsewhere where she can just pull up and park and go in.
I know.
And I've been stuck down there sometimes when a truck has stopped or something else.
Yeah.
And one day, in the middle of it, they had a driver ed school, was teaching the person on Main Street how to parallel park in the middle of the day. The person couldn't master it. Traffic was backed up for blocks. People were tooting, and I can imagine the language that was being used. But it's just... that's not the time to be teaching someone to parallel park. But Mr. Sirico, who was my teacher from Concord High, used to do it. We had it on a weekend, usually on a Saturday morning, and we'd go down to the Capitol Shopping Center, and he'd set up a couple of sawhorses or something, and you try to go in with that. But I guess now that the schools don't provide driver ed anymore, it's all individual schools?
No, some of the schools do, but then they've got the private ones. And of course, the legislature just passed, it goes on to the Senate now, about being able to do driver ed online, which many of us were against.
Yes.
But, no, I had Mr. Hines, and of course he got killed a few years after that on a motorcycle up on River Road, and I had Mr. Hackett for classroom, and then I had Mr. Hines. They broke up the classes, and I had Mr. Hines, and I will never forget him because he was a good guy. But I'll never forget going around the Bridge Street onto 93. I thought I took it slow, but all of a sudden he put his brake on, and what did I do? I was a little bit too fast, Dick. And I said, well, okay, and of course they scared the crap out of me. But he was a good guy, and like I said, he got killed on River Road on his motorcycle, not far from where he lived, I don't think. And that was back in probably 69 or 70 or 71, somewhere. No, not 69. Either 71 or 72, somewhere there. But, it's amazing when you think about the driver, because we had to do driver. We had a classroom, and then you had your instruction in the car, in the vehicle. Sometimes you had one person with you. Sometimes you had nobody but this instructor. But I can remember that, trying to parallel park.
Yes. Because that was part of the test at motor vehicle, was the parallel parking. Then I don't know whether that is still
I didn't have to then.
Yeah. Oh.
I had to back through the gates at the National Guard Armory. And that's where motor vehicle was.
Yes.
The teaching and the driving anyway. And we had to back straight through the gates, and that was it. I didn't have parallel. I had to go up Pleasant Street Extension, though. Stop and start.
Yes. Well, the person from motor vehicle was the most humorless person I had ever.
Oh, they were strict.
Oh my God, which was intimidating too, because you didn't have with your instructor, like with Mr. Sarika, you had a certain rapport you developed from the class, etc. But with this person, they had their clipboard. At least in my case, they did, and they were making little notes and. It was very distracting.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Yeah.
But I passed it, and
we had a 20-question test, if I remember right. And you were allowed 4 wrong.
Yes, that was it.
But I got mine on my first try. But it was different, and I can tell you the truth. Nowadays, I just as soon not drive. I don't enjoy it like I used to.
Oh, it's not a pleasant experience anymore.
And I was surprised. Main Street that they were going to do parallel parking on one side. I didn't know they were going to do that.
A lot of people were up in arms about that, and because that was one of the reasons it cut back on the number of spaces, because by configuring it that way. But I'm not sure what the reasoning was behind that. I don't remember now. It seems like it was so long ago that they started talking about that, and to get to the place where we are.
And now the Chamber of Commerce has got a bill in the legislature. They had somebody submit, I don't know which legislator did, about opening up the State House on weekends now for tourists and things. It's a good idea, I guess, but I'm wondering, my question is, how many people are going to use it?
Yes.
And then you've got to hire staff to be in there. Not many. I don't think the visitor center would be open in there to sell things. They might be, but I'm just curious as to what that would be. But we haven't. It's in committee right now, so we haven't voted on it. But,
well, you'd have to have a number of people, because otherwise you'd have people just wandering around, and you sort of have to keep an eye on.
I know.
Unfortunately, even more so in today's environment, you can't just let. I mean, when we were a kid, you could just walk in there and wander around and use the restroom, go upstairs, look around, and there was never any, restriction. In fact, I got to go up in the dome right under the Eagle at one point.
I've never been up there.
It's amazing. It is just, you see Concord in a totally different way up there.
Now that would be something to see.
That would definitely
be something.
They didn't allow people typically to do it, but Winslow Melvin, who worked for the state. He worked in the State House Annex. I knew his son Richard Melvin.
Oh yeah, I remember. I know
from Pleasant Street.
Yeah.
And so he arranged for us to go up there, and it was just unbelievable looking out and seeing your community from that perspective. Because from the lower part, it's really. You can almost get a better view going in one of the downtown buildings. It's not really that different, but it's that extra, those extra feet that really make a huge difference.
It's going to be interesting to see how well they do down on the south end. Now, northwise, are they going up past TD Bank, or is that going to just end at Bridge Street?
I think that's it.
That's it there.
That's it. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I don't know. It's amazing what they're doing, but I just hope, and I'm glad, as we talked off camera, Loudon Road, needs something, but I don't think going 2 lanes is the answer there.
No. I mean, I have never, knock on wood, had an accident in 45 years of driving on Loudon Road. I'm aware, I am courteous, I know what I'm doing, but I can't imagine trying to, funnel that much traffic into something smaller, and which is going to mean more and more people will go over to 393, which is a death trap, because nobody yields when they're either coming off the highway or they're going. When you come off the highway, it's immediately where somebody is going to turn off for Fort Eddy there, and there are so many times I see near accidents there, and that will just drive people to take that road more, and that increases the likelihood of accidents on 393, because people drive 70 and 75 sometimes on that. And I don't think, Loudon Road needs to be repaved, and there are certainly, things that could be done. But I think doing the other, if you are truly, that will be the death knell for the mall and for a lot of the mom and pop businesses like Arnie's and, some of those places. If people feel, oh my God, it's like a parking lot up there, it's so slow moving, they're going to say, well, we'll skip going to the windmill, or we'll skip going to one of these other places because we don't want to deal with that. And people today don't have the patience.
No, they don't. Oh, they don't. No, they don't. Even Manchester Street, the same thing. That's a mess over there, too. But
you remember as kids, the 5 o'clock whistle would blow, and Main Street traffic for about 20 minutes was bumper to bumper as people got out of work. But you had patience back then. But today, people are in such a rush to get to the next place. And
you mentioned that Main Street bumper whistle. Do they still do the church bells at 9 o'clock or whatever?
No.
Remember how they used to
that
do
was
that?
tinny fuel bells. There was a speaker on top of tinny fuel on Pleasant Street. It was the building where Stephen's Music Store was on the downstairs. Yes. There were speakers up on top, and they played the bells ding dong ding dong 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 dong.
They played
and then they played a song. And they played it at 9 o'clock in the morning, at 12 noon, and at 5 o'clock. And they would play the number of, in addition to the horn, which was over at the firehouse, which they also used to tell you where a fire was, or if there wasn't going to be school. If Mr. Atherton canceled school, they would blow that. But the tinny bells would ring that other thing, and then the number of chimes for the time, and then it would play 2 songs with the bells, the carillon. And that was Tinny that did that.
For goodness sakes. Yeah, I wondered about that.
And you could hear that up at our house if the wind was right, because it was so loud. You could, hear the music playing, and those were all those nice little touches.
I know, I remember that. Especially on Saturday morning when we were shopping. I remember my mother and them we'd hear the bells, chimes, and I thought it was a church. I thought it was either First Baptist or St. Paul's or even St. John's or something. But interesting. I understand. I was hearing a rumor. I saw the bishop today, and I didn't even take the chance to ask him. But rumors are flying that Sacred Heart Church has been sold.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what's going to go in there because
it's been sold to a certain developer.
Oh, really?
With the initials SD.
Oh, okay. But another church not going to go in there? Or?
No. Reportedly condos was what I heard. And this was someone associated with St. John's Church that said that. Which I don't know about the configuring and all of that. And
that's sad because Sacred Heart, of all the churches in town, Sacred Heart looks just like a church.
Sacred Heart and the Christian Science Church are I think the two most beautiful icons. Structures that just
and to change that now it made me sad. I know down in Epping they made a restaurant out of St. Joseph's down there. It's okay, but I just think you're walking into a church and no matter what they've done, it doesn't. I just feel like I don't know. So that's what you've heard then, huh? Because I know they said
from somebody that's associated with Christ the King Parish, with St. John's, that seems to have their finger on the pulse. So that was what the word is. I'm not sure beyond that.
I know the parking's bad there, but still, I hate to see that go as a church.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I've never been inside.
You have
to. They say it's beautiful.
It
was beautiful.
It is breathtakingly beautiful. Yeah. And the stained glass windows, as nice as they look outside, from the inside with the light coming through, and the Stations of the Cross, all of that, the confessional, the pulpit where he does the homily, all of that is just, and the whole altar area, the ceiling. I don't remember who they modeled it after, but it was a famous church when the French Canadians came to Concord.
Probably Notre Dame or something.
Or something, yes. If you get a chance, if it's still, because supposedly they have to keep it open several months of the year, otherwise if it just sits empty, it becomes taxable.
Oh, yeah.
And last year they opened
Oh, yeah.
it between May and September, October.
Yeah.
And if they do that this year, go one time just to see it if it's still
I know. I'd like
with
to.
me, because it truly is. It just, when you walk in, it gives you all the feelings that churches used to give us when we were young and that kind of.
Well, I remember down on North State Street there, at the back, the back end, I used to call it the back side, First Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
There was the White Memorial Universalist Church. And they tore that down because they said it was unsafe or something and put a parking lot in there. And of course, First Baptist now has changed their name to Centerpoint.
Right.
Whatever.
And the one, that church that was next to them, that backed up against them where the parking lot is now,
that was
a beautiful, that was a gorgeous church.
Yeah, that was White
Yes,
Memorial.
okay.
Because when St. Paul's had their fire, they moved over there.
Did they?
They
To
moved
use
over
that?
there. They used it
Uh-huh.
for their masses and stuff.
That was beautiful
services.
building. Beautiful. It was stucco, wasn't it? It was very...
Could be.
Yes.
I remember it was red on the
Yes.
outside.
Yes. And it was...
I still can't get used to First Baptist with their name now, Centerpoint.
No.
It just doesn't sound right.
No.
But, and then there was a church on, it's South Street, but there was one up there was also, they sold it in the Concord Community Music School, I think, Advent Christian, is that
Oh,
the one?
yes.
Yeah.
On Wall Street or
Yes.
something. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. But at least they're using it, and they've maintained the interior. They use it for their performing auditorium, for small concerts and things. And so it lends itself very nicely.
And I found out the other day, too, when I was down to the Kennedy Apartments, that the Anna Carrico Theater's gone.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, the music's, it was part of the Concord Music Club, I think, because it was Angela Anna Carrico that was named after, had been very active in that. And so a group of people, Mitzi Berman, Alice Lavoie, Eleanor Batchelder, Dottie Battalico, Ellen Downing, a group of music teachers in the community had gotten together to honor her and raised money and opened this. And it was a lovely auditorium. And it worked great for having a piano recital.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what exactly happened and why, but it's been, it's gone now.
Just sad.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's nice to, I guess, have things up to date or whatever, but you still miss the things in the past,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
It's sad. Like I said, you said the Concord Theater. Drive by there, and it looks... What's keeping it up there, you know? It's like
Exactly.
It's sad.
Eventually it'll collapse unto itself and then it'll be torn down and that'll be it. And the opportunity to do something with it will be, you know.
It's just sad. It's almost like it's crying for attention.
It is. It is.
That's
yes.
the feeling I get. It's like crying for attention. But
Wow.
I don't know. But hey, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
You know, I still see empty storefronts here and there, but...
Go to the mall if you want empty storefront.
Boy.
That's heartbreaking, though, to walk in there and
is.
just see one after another after another.
Yeah.
Because there is absolutely no energy or vitality. And even people that used to go up there just to walk don't seem to go there anymore. You know, you used to see dozens of people that were just walking around.
Yeah.
And it's not there. It's just...
Very sad.
Yes. But,
Well, we're coming to a close of Around Town. We've been talking with Paul Brogan, and once again, talking to old times and new times and whatever times you want to talk about.
Exactly.
But anyhow, it's been a pleasure, Paul, having you come on. And,
Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll be talking with you soon. And don't forget Faith Speaks on the Catholic radio station that I host. And with that in mind, I want to thank Ian Marks, my director. He's way. I thought he was asleep over there for a minute.
Me too. And I said, my God, our
Watching him, I
conversation
said,
puts
I'm
people
boring
to
him.
sleep.
Yeah, I know,
We
I'm
should be
boring
bottled
him.
like medication.
I feel like I'm boring him. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us on Around Town, and we look forward to seeing you soon. I'm Dick Patten, your host.